Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Project Podcast. Unfortunately, we've had some technical difficulties with the Cloverfield episode. Unfortunately, we've lost all the audio. So today we will be bringing you our second episode, The Hills Have Eyes. I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome back to Project Podcast. This is Connor, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend Cameron.
How's it going?
Today, for episode 2 of the horror season, our first season, doing this little podcast thing that we decided to do, we're going to be looking over the movie The Hills Have Eyes. This movie came out in 1977, was directed by the well-known and very culturally significant Wes Craven.
Written by Wes Craven.
And written by good catch. Very good catch. What did you think of the movie?
It was all right. It wasn't like the best movie ever. It was no Nightmare on Elm Street.
It was no Nightmare on Elm Street.
But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this has been on my list for a while.
No, me too.
Because it's like it's The Hills Have Eyes. I feel like it has huge cultural significance. It was huge when it came out. There's been, I don't know how many fucking reboots. I know you've watched some. We can touch on that in a bit later.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, it was an interesting movie.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely interesting. I have a couple questions for you. And actually, first, I'll just review the brief summary of the plot.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So families driving. They're driving with it's like a daughter. I actually don't know the exact relationship between all of them, but it's basically a family between everybody. There's like the dad, the mom, the couple, the two dogs, and then like the girl,
brother and sister,
and the brother and sister. That's right.
Yeah.
And they crash, which also was a funny scene. Like, so they're road tripping out to somewhere, then they crash in the middle of nowhere, basically. And there are these guys out there living where they just happen to crash.
The mutants are what they're called officially.
Really?
In my notes, I was looking at like cannibals or savages.
I was going to say cannibals.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. When I was looking up, because when I watched the remake, I watched the remake and this one and the sequel to the remake as well, just to prepare. Okay. Because I'd seen the remake before, and I was trying to look up a list of all of the mutants to like compare them, because they're not really fleshed out in the reboot. So I wanted to know like which ones were what, and everything I kept reading kept referring to them as like mutants. So like, I don't know. I guess that's the official.
I guess, yeah, it makes it more creepy, donation. I guess.
Yeah.
They definitely looked mutated, I guess. The guy with the split nose, the bald guy, like the guy with the teeth that was kind of like shivved down or something. That'd be a little more spiky. So, did you think it was scary at all?
Well, like I said, I had previously seen the remake before. So, and that one is just more modern, right?
Yeah.
So going in with that perspective into the older one, like I wasn't really going to be scared by it, but there were some points that there was a little bit of tension, I guess. Like, when the brother is like chasing the dog, there are definitely some parts where you're like on edge, but I never really felt like it was that scary.
Do you think it might have been made scarier if it was more supernatural? Because I knew nothing about this movie going into it. I was expecting it to be more supernatural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't know anything about it?
No, I mean, like halfway through the movie, I was like, oh, I do kind of remember like reading that it was about cannibals or something. But like, yeah, I wasn't thinking. I didn't know what I was expecting walking into it. Which was good. It's always a good thing to do that for movies.
Yeah, right. Well, it always gets lumped in with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's what they were saying. Well, he says that from the small things I read, there was that he was like greatly influenced by Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that movie yet, actually.
Oh, really?
I feel like it's one of those ones where it's same as this, where like it's good to see, but don't know if I'd call this a timeless movie, you know?
Well, I don't know. Texas Chainsaw is a little bit different. I feel like that one's endured a little bit better than The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I think this movie definitely has aged past its point of being really enjoyable.
Yeah, watching this, I was like, I would not show this to anybody. You know,
Yeah.
I would never recommend somebody watching this unless they were like a deep movie fan like we are. I don't know, but I agree. It's definitely past its. It hasn't aged well. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's definitely a good idea. But for sure, the effects, even like they do well with the gore. I feel like back in the day, that gore must have been pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I do know because people were like raving against this movie when it came out.
Interesting.
Like yelling shit in theaters. I mean, this was in '77, right? Like.
Same year's Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I didn't even put that together. So like that, I mean, Star Wars is different because it changed effects, but like not a lot happening.
yeah, exactly.
So tell me about the new ones. How did they like continue on with this idea?
Oh, okay, wait. Before we move on to that, I just want to say, I really liked in the original one. Some of my the highlights for this movie were right after they crashed their like trailer and stuff. The brother is like running around. He does like a casual
he does the fucking
backflip.
No, he fucking cartwheels with one hand and then lands backwards. Then does a backflip.
Yeah,
I remember being like, that was the coolest part of the movie. I forgot about. I was gonna. I think I forgot to write it down, but yeah, shit was awesome.
Yeah, and then so we'll get into this when we talk about the newer ones, but I thought it was interesting that there was like active nuke testing going on. They kind of allude to it in this one. It's like,
well, that's what I was thinking. Do they like mutate off of it in the newer ones? Because like that's what I thought they were gonna go with.
Yeah. And then in the we'll get there.
I need yes or no though.
Oh yes.
Okay. So
They
it's
like
more supernatural than the other ones.
Sort of.
Okay.
We'll get there. I promise.
Okay. I'll be patient.
And then when we're like learning the backstory about them, like the backstory about the mutants just like didn't work. You know, like it was the guy's like son that he just decided to leave there.
He also said that he was like this like hairy beast of a man, and like the only thing that really like differentiated him as like, you know, freaky was like he did see the scar of when his dad split him in the face with like the crowbar or something is what he says, I think. And it looks good, like his like nose is kind of split.
Yeah. I thought that looked good.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't Fred, the gas station guy, just like get out of town after he left his son in the desert? I feel like if you're hiding a dead body in the desert, I think you go as far away from that as possible. You don't set up a business right outside.
That's a good point.
I was like, what the hell are you doing, man?
Well, he looked like he was on semi-decent terms with like the daughter, or I don't, did they explain in the movie? Did I miss like how everybody else was just there with him? Like,
well, because he says that his son ended up growing up and the direct quote is something like he found a whore that would live out there with him and had a bunch of kids.
That makes sense. Yeah. I missed that part. Yeah, I was just like, I guess I assumed it was a family, but I don't know.
And then the ADR in this movie is pretty bad.
Yeah.
There were some points that I was like, it really doesn't sound like they're actually outside right now. Like the audio is way too perfect for them.
The space between dialogue between two characters was really short.
Really? I didn't notice that.
And like the beginning, that's one of the first things I noticed. Like when they talk, and then like it was not even like a second, and then the person was responding. And I don't think it's like how they shot it. I think it's like how they cut it.
Yeah, and I think because there was some points in the audio where like the brother says something like, let's go kill those guys, and it's just like clearly does not match his mouth.
You know what part of the audio really bugged me? The sisters screaming throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, I agree. That was egregious.
It was egregious. She was good. She had the good horror scream, but it went on for like 5 minutes every time she was on screen.
And then the ending was just so abrupt.
I was gonna say that too.
Ended like right away. I was like, holy shit, it's over.
I had the exact same thought. And then the credits were only like 30 seconds long.
Yeah. The credits were very short.
Yeah, which was something that took me by surprise too.
Okay, so now we can get into the reboot. So I've got a list of differences here that the reboot does, or that just like a list of differences between the two. So in the new one, well, semi-new. It came out in 2006.
Tell us what years did all the movies come out that came after?
Okay,
like what were all the movies and what years did they come out?
So there's a direct sequel to the 70s one called
Part
Hills
2.
Have Eyes 2.
Yeah.
That one came out like in the 80s or something. I don't know the exact date.
Not directed by Wes Craven.
Written and directed by Wes Craven as well.
Written and directed by, I take that back. I didn't see his name on the poster, so I assume not.
So Wes Craven wrote and directed that one, and then in the reboot came out in 2006. Wes Craven produces it or executive produces. He's involved in like a producer role.
Okay.
And then they made a sequel to that one, another Hills Have Eyes 2, which was written by Wes Craven and his son.
Oh, okay.
Not directed by either of them, but so then that's the history of the films in this series. I didn't watch the direct sequel to this. But I did watch
another podcast episode.
Yeah. But I did watch the 2 reboots, the new ones basically. So the major differences are that the gas station guy, Fred, is not related to them at all. And
the cannibals out there, the mutants?
Yeah. Okay. The gas station guy is not related to them, and he like sends the family to them. Like he's got to deal with the cannibals to like send them people. I think they like kind of touch on that.
Yeah.
Where like he's like tricking people to send to the cannibals for them to eat. But so that's basically what it is he like, because in the original one he tells them not to go, but in the remake he tells them to go towards the cannibals.
Okay, interesting.
Like he like tells the family to go the wrong way. He like purposely sabotages them.
Do you think that's better than? I mean, it's hard to say better or not, but I feel like the advantage of having it like him just kind of being like a normal dude made it feel more like realistic, I guess. Like when you watch a horror movie, there's like, it feels like every single thing goes wrong, like bang 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 bang, but it's not like just, you don't see like too much of the before where everything truly is just normal. It felt more like routine, you know.
I agree.
Sacker, one of my roommates, was next to me at the beginning of it, and he didn't even know it was a horror movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then both movies have shots of like of the mutants looking through binoculars at the people, and in Wes Craven's, like it actually like moves around and it looks like there's like binoculars, right?
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's binoculars. And in the remake, it's just a static shot, and they've put like a yellow binocular filter over it. Like
maybe
you
like
tell.
A little binocular border. Like
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So that was one of the things I liked better about the original one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so in the original one, you know how they like crashed because of the bunny almost? Like he like swerves to miss the bunny, and that's why they crash.
Yeah.
So in the remake, it's like a spike strip that the mutants place on the road. Like they blow out their tires.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's more creative.
I liked that better too. And
feels more like a trap than happenstance.
Yeah. Exactly. I did think that worked better. And then, so I forgot to say this, the main character, the husband character of the couple, right? Like the guy that survives, is played by the actor that's Pyro in the X-Men movies, in X-Men 2 and 3.
Really?
Yeah, like he's the main character in the...
There's no way I would have recognized it with his 70s stash and like.
Well, he doesn't have the 70s stash. The reboot is actually set in
Oh wait, the
present
reboot
day.
is played by him.
In the reboot.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, he looks good. Like,
so in the reboot, it's set in present day, and they say that like from this period to this period, it's like the 40s to the 90s is when they were doing all the nuclear testing in Nevada. And basically at the beginning of the movie, there's like a title crawl and like a big montage of like nukes being tested and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the people that live in this area have been mutated because of the nukes.
Yeah.
And they just like explicitly say that at the beginning of the film. So that's how I kind of interpreted as well in the original one, was that like that's why the gas station attendant's wife had the baby like that, is because the baby was mutated by the nukes.
Definitely.
And so one of the interesting things I found out about that opening montage of where they're showing all the archival footage of like nukes going off, and there's also like pictures of deformed people that have apparently been irradiated and been mutated. But so at the end of the credits, there's like a little blurb that's like, thank you for the US military on letting us use the archival footage of the nukes and stuff. And then the next line is like the source for like Agent Orange pictures, like Agent Orange deformities. And it's like, damn, all the pictures that they showed weren't even of nukes. It was of like Agent Orange.
Damn.
Like,
interesting.
That was kind of a...
I mean, if it's effective, if it looks real, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And then the guy that's Pyro, right? That's the main character. He, they like constantly keep referencing that he works for a cell phone company. And like, he's like, oh, there's no service out here. Like that's how they like get around it being in the present day. So that's, another difference. The sequel, or the remake, sorry, also ends like a bit. It doesn't end as abruptly. Like it ends with like the family like reuniting at the
instead
camper.
of just the minute he kills that guy.
yeah. So that was something else. But at the end of the day, the remakes are basically just like generic early 2000s horror movie where they're like it's way more graphic, but it's like a little bit over the top. They were probably influenced by the popularity of Saw at the time, you know? So there's that. And it's like, there's not as much camp as in the original one. Like it's like done way more seriously. And it's just like not
has
as
the opposite
fun,
effect.
You know?
Yeah, it's like the thing when something's so serious and a character dies and the audience starts laughing instead of being like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. I would say,
all in all, do you think you would consider yourself a fan or a casual enjoyer now?
Definitely not. I was thinking I would not rewatch the original one.
No, I would agree.
I think actually the remake, the best scenario is if you're like watching it with a big group of friends and you're like able to make fun of it, you know? I feel like there is some enjoyment in the remake in the right setting. But and then the second one I also would just not watch again. Like,
it's fair.
The reboots or the remakes also do this thing where they like the characters are much different. Like they're most of the time it's both movies. It's like the groups of the main characters are just like constantly bickering at each other and like they're just so annoying. And it's like, is that the like the what word am I trying to think of? Like is that enough reason to like be able to kill the character, you know? Like is that the justification
I see
for having to kill the character, you know? Like they're already unlikable, so we might as well just kill them, like they deserve it almost. So I don't know, like it just like makes you less invested in any of the characters.
It's also
when they're
like
just like terrible people.
Yeah, it's also like when all the characters. It's like when one character sucks. It's like when they die, there's some payoff, right? But when all of them suck, and you're just like, man, like you shouldn't inherently be rooting for the fucking being that's killing everything. I would agree. I definitely wouldn't watch it again. I think it wasn't a bad movie, but like I said when we started this, it definitely didn't age as well.
Mm-hmm. It has its place in like film history. Like we wouldn't have maybe like movies like Midsummer or something. Like if Hills Have Eyes didn't come out, I don't know.
Yeah, to think that was pushing boundaries.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Where nowadays we've watched. You can watch it's the devil one with Willem Dafoe, right?
Oh, Antichrist.
Yeah. It's not like where you can see some girl cut off her clit.
Oh yeah.
In Antichrist, it's like we've evolved to really just show whatever the fuck we want with horror movies, which is good, and also kind of hinders it because like when it gets too much, it's just hard to watch.
I agree. But yeah, that's everything that I had to say about it.
Yeah. Not the most interesting movie, but we can confidently say we've watched one of the classics now, right?
Exactly.
I'd say
you get to cross it off the list.
Yeah, exactly. Now. It's I'd say for any of our viewers or listeners, I should say, if you want to cross it off the list, definitely go ahead. If you're like us and just want to fucking watch it, then for the sake of watching a piece of history, a famous film that like really helped change horror for a while, definitely do it. If you want an enjoyable movie, probably don't watch it.
Yeah.
If you're looking to have like sit down and watch a good scary movie, it's definitely not it.
I agree.
Yeah. Cool. Well, until next time, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you. Oh wait. What are we watching next? What are we watching next?
Is it Dream Warriors?
It's Nightmare. Well, it's not Wes Craven, but he might have wrote it. We'll have to look into it. But
by the way,
Wes Craven is involved.
Would you consider yourself a big because you like Scream a lot?
Scream is good.
I've never gotten into Scream. I haven't watched a lot of the movies, but I liked Nightmare on Elm Street quite a bit.
Nightmare on Elm Street is really good.
Let me just double check really quick. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors.
Yes, this movie is awesome.
The third one, right?
Yep, it's the third one.
Yeah, hell yeah. Perfect. Yeah, well, in anticipation of the next podcast, you should definitely check out the movie. Or if you've already seen it, just go on ahead and listen to it.
Exactly. Catch you next time.
Bye.